What's up, board game people? So this is it. I'm out of excuses. I want a game table, and the only way it seems I'll get one that I like is to pay my ounce of sweat and blood. It's time to start the build I've been planning for so long, and you all get to come along for the ride. Before I begin, this video series would not be possible without the generous support of my Patreon members. They're helping me to get filming equipment for the channel so I can concentrate on new content. And trust me, we'll get a lot of content out of this table. So thank you to all my Patreon members, and if you'd like to see your name up here on the screen among all the many other perks of membership, check out my Patreon page. Every dollar helps. So let's jump right in. Recently, I almost gave up the idea of building a table for myself. A friend offered me what amounts to almost an entire frame for a Wormwood modular game table, and I almost went in that direction. What I found out is that the conversion kits for it, the thing that makes it modular, able to be reconfigured to be smaller, larger, a coffee table, or full bar height, these kits aren't ready. They managed to actually run a second Kickstarter without ever amassing a backlog of these conversion kits that make their table modular. I tried talking to them to get new toppers and legs to be able to build an MGT, and after they gave me the runaround, all during the latest Kickstarter when I could have been one of the first backers and just gotten a complete MGT in 5 to 6 months, then they had me wait until a few weeks after the Kickstarter to tell me that they couldn't help me. Instead, they said that the conversion kits would go up for pre-order at some future unspecified date. And these pre-orders, they would be for somewhere between 1.5 and 2 years from now. Ain't nobody got time for that. Let that soak in for a minute. I'm sorry to say that unless something changes and they decide to prioritize loyal existing customers over new money, you'll not be able to actually convert your table away from the original configuration for, let's say, 2 years. You better plan accordingly. Am I salty? Always. But I'm going to be really honest here. I wanted a modular game table. It's an elegant solution and would have been a wonderful platform to film on. Wormwood antics and controversies aside, to me the MGT and their prophecy is quite a standard to live up to. I enjoyed my time sitting and playing at an MGT, and that solidified the want of a gaming table in my mind. They achieve a level of quality and design that just isn't present in other game tables. Their tables are beautiful, and the tactile experience of real solid hardwood, it's just difficult to beat. My wife instantly saw my disappointment when they said they couldn't help me out with the parts and even suggested we buy one of their prophecy tables because they quote 4 to 6 month delivery on them. I mean, what an amazing woman, but I'm not about to put us $10,000 in debt just for a table. And there are things about the prophecy that just don't excite me, so it's a hard pass. My table will take some design inspiration from theirs though. For me, to be comfortable doing this, I decided I wanted to work off an established design and build off that. Wormwood tables are jointed together with some interesting but proprietary hardware, so a straight copy is out. And I mean, where's the fun in that anyways? Before I ever actually wanted an MGT, I found a game table made by another YouTuber I follow. Mark, the Wood Whisperer, made a video going over his table at a very high level. And since then, he's made the plans and a full course that walks you through making the table available via his Wood Whisperer Guild. He has a great site, an amazing collection of projects you can add to your own collection, and the community there is incredibly warm and inviting. So, it's those plans I'll be building off of. Before I can really get started and tweak the plans for the table, I need to know what I want from my table. I don't have to build a dining table that doubles as a gaming table. Instead, I want a beautiful table to film on, a space underneath to keep a long-running game, and the option to use the top for game nights when the vault is occupied. This means I can do some interesting stuff that you might not really want on a dining table. So I sat down and made a list of things that I want from my table. I want the option to add a screen to the table and use it as a digital animated map. I want some LED bling in the form of individually addressable LED strips. I need a way to control all of those LEDs. I want some glowing runes of some sort on the inside walls of the vault. Magnetic rails for accessories are a must for me, and I want the accessories I make to be completely compatible with other magnetic rail systems. Powered USB ports and electrical outlets are non-negotiable for me. The vault should be somewhere between 4.5 and 5 inches deep when playing on top of a mat. I want a custom logo mat for the vault. And hell, let's get one for the top of the table too to protect it and give me another background to film on. And I want to automate the lid lift. This is the gist of it. Then I made a list of accessories. This list could stretch from here to the moon, so I just figured out the basics and a few stretch goals that'd be fun to eventually have. The easiest way I figured out to cover the basics was just to scroll down the wormwood accessory list and help myself to a little inspiration. Cup holders are a must. Wireless chargers for phones would be nice. A GM desk with some storage. Some system for storing the toppers. Token trays, dice towers. Card organizers or holders. Some way to store all these accessories. This list just goes on and on. Next, I tried to organize it into things I needed to design and build around from the very beginning, and things that weren't completely necessary and could wait till the actual table is already built. I came up with LED strips and runes needing to be there from the start. The accessory rails and the powered USB and electrical outlets, they've got to be there too. The deeper vault is definitely a design consideration. I would need a mat for the bottom of the vault at minimum. The automated lid lift would need to be there from the beginning, and the lighting controller. On the accessory side, I need cup holders, token trays, dice towers, and storage for the toppers. Everything else will be made after the version 1.0 of the table is standing proud in my game room. So I know what I want and what I need. From there, I started to look over the parts on the Wood Whisperer plans and see what would need to be modified. I took the original table and I exploded it one piece at a time. I was looking at each piece, seeing what would need to be modified and what would need to be lengthened and what design and design language changes I'd want to make. I needed to do away with the side rail T-tracks from the design and figure out how to go about adding the steel rails to the table. I needed to figure out how many toppers I'd want. I could go with the standard 3 or I could increase that. I think 5 to 7 is probably the sweet spot for toppers. I already had an idea of how to automate the lid lift, and the manual system in place lends itself to using some 3D printed gears and maybe a stepper motor to automate the whole thing. I still need to figure out what type of runes I want on the table and exactly where. This will inform how I go about creating them and lighting them. While there are still 100 other questions to be answered, I'm on the path now. So I started taking each piece and enlarging them to fit the table dimensions I want. I'm shooting for the original MGT's wargaming size, something like 50-ish inches by 96 inches, or roughly 1.25 meters by almost 2.5 meters. I'm not planning to change the height of the table legs dramatically, so for now I can reuse those. I lengthened the top frame pieces, enlarged the plywood bottom of the vault, I removed the T-track system, and tucked the rails up under the table lip so the accessories sit flush with the lip of the table. I got all the pieces modified, and then, like a set of digital Legos, I put them all back together into a rough SketchUp of my table. This isn't a finished product, far from it, but it's something to build off of. Over the next few weeks, I'll be finishing out adding in all the necessary elements to these plans. I need to get everything pretty well set before I even think about starting to cut wood. So where am I going to make this table? I don't have a workshop out back of the house or anything. This is going to have to be made in my garage, and currently my garage is occupied by one very angry feral cat that's going to be fixed and released in the next week or so. There's no way to put it nicely, but the garage is a wreck and it smells like poo. I have a lot of cleaning up to do once the cat's finally gone. While I have a good amount of the tools I'll need for the build, I didn't have a bandsaw, a drill press, and a few other things that will be necessary along the way, so I got a little jump on ordering what I would need from the start. These tools will all need rolling carts that allow me to work with the space I have, and there's one big requirement with the garage. My wife's car has to fit in it. That was our deal, and I mostly have to uphold that. She's nice enough to let me kick the car out of the garage for a few days at a time, but overall she wants the car to be in the garage. So to organize the garage, I took to SketchUp again. I'm a very visual person if you haven't already guessed, and I like to be able to move things around until I get it just right. So I built out our garage in SketchUp. I even have a model of my wife's Santa Fe that I can plop down in there to make sure I'm leaving enough room to pull in and out, actually get out and in the car. I'm also moving the huge Jupiter Resin 3D printer down to the garage as the fumes are just getting to be too much for it to live in the game room. So things will be tight, but I think I can make it all fit. I need to build a rolling miter saw cart with folding wings. I bought a rolling cart for the printer and all the cleaning stuff that goes with it. I'll move my compressor to a shelf on the miter saw cart to help stabilize it. I need a cart for the bandsaw and the drill press. I'm thinking about making a flip-top cart for these two, but I need to do a little more investigating. I also don't really have a great work table for the garage, so I found a design for one that folds up and is stored flat along a wall. This allows me to make a sizable table, and it takes up very little space when not in use. I'm going to try to make this table at a height that nearly matches my table saw, so I can finally have an outfeed table, which just makes using the table saw much safer and easier for a one-man show. So there's a lot to do before I even get started building the table. This is a journey though, not a jog. I don't mind taking my time and setting the garage up with the right tools and the right organization to allow me to work faster and more efficiently. In the end, I'll have a game table, but I'll also have an amazing set of tools that I can use for all the other projects that I have planned. Oh, and I got the wife's okay to completely convert the game room, and that's a project even crazier than building the game table. So this is just the first video of many to come. Sorry, this isn't just jumping right into the build, but I'm hoping the whole journey will have some value to some of you out there. I think we need more in-depth videos of these type of DIY tables, and I'm hoping maybe I can inspire someone else to make the plunge. Or maybe this will end up being a cautionary tale of what not to do. Only time's gonna tell. There's no expected cadence for these videos. I'll be filming as much of the process as I can, but this will not be a step-by-step instructional video. If you want that, grab the Wood Whisperer's plans and watch his videos. He knows what he's talking about. Me, I'm just an idiot with a bunch of expensive toys. Hopefully I can get another video out in the next few weeks to show some progress on the garage cleanup and maybe even the finished or more finished plan. If you have any questions, ask. If you'd like to see more of something I'm not showing with the build, let me know. If you have ideas, I'm all ears. I'll be back here shortly with our next news video, and next week I have a very special interview that should be released. Please make sure you subscribe and click that bell so you don't miss anything. Also, we'd love to have you join our community on Discord. You can find a link in the video description. Thanks to everyone watching, commenting, and supporting the channel on Patreon. Have a great night, and don't let the FOMO bite.